Yo, what up, Ree here? Ree up, motherfuck, Ree back. Thank you for coming back. This is part 2 because I'm talking about Liber Null. And I said I was going to talk about how to prepare yourself for magic. This is a very serious occult book. Even the author's note is written. It's written by Peter J. Carroll. This is actually in the, some people call this chaos magic. Chaos does not mean what you think it means. Look up the definition in Magick. Chaos actually means to create events, because there was nothing until something happened, which we don't know exactly what it is, but an energy occurred which created events, which created time, which created everything like that. The illusion of time. So he even says in the notes, this is for a serious occult student, therefore contains some powerful rituals. These rituals and exercises should be performed by readers who are in good health. If one suffers from heart disease, epilepsy, or chronic disease, please do not use the material in this book. And it's very true. This is like serious stuff, and this will tell you exactly kind of what's going on, and this is what everyone should read. So a lot of people talk about that they want to do magic, or they want to perform, or they want to manifest things. And I always tell them, you have to have your mind state right first. So now I have this book that proves it. So let me read you this, okay? Because you can't have any of this going on. You can't create, you can't manifest or anything like that unless your mind state and you have mind control. So these are the things that you can do in order to prepare yourself, so that when you are doing rituals and you are doing things, or you're creating or manifesting things like that, you're able to do it. So with mind control, number 1 is motionlessness. So that's when you're meditating. But when you're meditating, you have to be there for as long as possible, okay? Do not try to move or blink. Do not try to do any of that. Okay, and this way you're actually opening up your eyes. So don't blink, don't move your tongue, don't move your fingers or anything. Don't let your mind wander away of thoughts or anything. You have to be sitting, you have to, what appears to be a comfortable position. It's going to get uncomfortable, yeah, but you push through that and then you won't feel it anymore. You're going to come to a point where you don't feel your body anymore. And you need to practice this every day, because this is the only way to do it. It's like working out. So you're gonna, and then write also when you should not be satisfied with less than 5 minutes, and then when 15 minutes has been achieved, proceed to the regulation of breathing. So then I'm going to talk about breathing. But yeah, you have to be able to sit there. This one, with your eyes or eyes open or eyes closed, you got to be able to sit there and have absolutely no thought. And most people cannot do this. That's why people don't like to be alone. It's not that they're lonely, it's like they don't want to be alone with their own thoughts. And when you can blank your mind at no matter what's happening, that's when you're in control of life. And then the next thing you got to be in control of is your breathing. So when you stay motionless as possible, you got to begin to deliberately make the breathing slower and deeper. So that's very important, right? The aim is to use the entire capacity of the lungs, but without any undue muscular effort or strain. So do it. It's got to be like easy. The lungs may be held empty or full between exhalation or inhalation to lengthen the cycle. The important thing is that the mind should direct its complete attention to the breath cycle. And when it can be done for 30 minutes, proceed to not thinking. So start with the breathing and then get to the not thinking. So do the 5 minutes, clear your mind, 5 to 15 minutes, go to the breathing. Then once you're done that, go to the no thinking. And then this will train your mind. So the no thinking exercise of motionless and breathing may improve health, but there's no better value for preparation for no thinking in the beginnings of magical trance conditioning. So while motionless and breathing deeply, begin to withdraw the mind from any thoughts which arise. The attempt to do this inevitably reveals the mind to be a raging temptress of activity. Yeah, you're going to notice everything that you think about all day. All day. And this goes for the positive things too. This goes for the people decoding reality. This goes for everything. You got to stop thinking. And another reason a lot of people can't stop decoding is because it's a trance that it's putting you in, because these are spellings from the news, spells, and you're getting caught up in the spell as well. That's another thing. But I'll talk about that later. And then so you attempt to do that, and it reveals the mind, and then the only greatest determination can win even a few seconds of mental silence, but even this is quite a triumph. Yeah, it's very hard, but if you can do it even for a few seconds, you're winning, and keep doing it. The aim is for complete vigilance over the arising thoughts and try to lengthen the periods of time. So you do that. That's another thing you can practice. These are all these things are for a reason. It may sound like, oh, it's just nothing. Not many people try sitting without thinking. The other thing is the magical trances. And it's when the mind is focused and not interfering with the will. So what you got to do is focus your mind on something meaningless, like a meaningless phenomenon, like something you see for concentration. And focus on that. If you can focus on something meaningless, your mind will go into a trance. Like something that if you're looking at something and it's meaningless, if you can just focus all your attention on that thing, you go into the trance. But the best thing to do is to do it with an object. So if you're stare at an object, because that's where, you know that saying evil eye, like, oh, I feel like I got an evil eye on me or something. That actually comes from, according to this book, it comes from the wizards and sorcerers who are who can give that fixed dead stare, because they can concentrate all their energy on one object with that stare and not think of anything. So we're incorporating all the different things, not think of anything, and then they can harness their energy in order to change that object eventually. That's what you're learning to do. This is like, all this is like working out, but no one taught you to do this kind of thing. So fix an object, and then make sure that you don't you don't make your vision cloudy or anything like that. Like, make sure it's sharp. It's going to be hard to do. It's going to be very hard, but if you can do that, you're fixing all your energy of it, right? And then the cult secret by this technique can be developed by working with meaningless objects. Okay. So a lot of the times, like a lot of monks did this actually, and to hold an object with absolute fixed, unwandering gaze for more than a few moments proves extraordinarily difficult. But it can persist for hours at a time. So if you can get to the point and do that for hours at a time, things will happen to you. This isn't a waste of time. Or there's sound concentration, which can be done by mentally imagining any sound with one or more syllables, and it's selected. For example, or so that's why people do that, because you don't think when you say it. Or abracadabra, that's another thing. And the chosen sound is repeated over and over in the mind to block out other thoughts. No matter how inappropriate the choice of sound may seem to have been, you must persist with it. Eventually the sound may seem to repeat itself automatically and may even occur in sleep. These are encouraging signs. The sound concentration is the key to the words of power and certain forms of spell casting. So that can help you. The sound concentration, because if you can concentrate on certain sounds, then you're going to be able to make spells. And that's why I tell people to be careful about the news when you're decoding it, because these are all spells, and by you reading it, you're getting caught up in the spell as well. Even if you're decoding it, that's the thing. That's the one thing that, that's going to get you caught up. But if you learn these things, this will help you not get as caught up, because you'll less, I don't know, you're still going to get caught up. I don't know what you can do there. But image concentration, the part of the mind in which, or you can do the image one where you can visualize in your mind's eye, like a triangle, like any kind of shape that you can. Triangle, circle, square, cross, crescent, whatever you want to hold. But you got to hold that as much as possible without thinking. And that's going to be very hard for you to do as well. But these are working out. These are things that you work out and then when you strengthen these things, you're going to be unstoppable. And what else is there? And yeah. And then the other good things that they were saying too, if you can, laughter is very important because there's no opposite of laughter. Laughter is laughter. That's the one thing that there's no opposite emotion of, because you can laugh. People laugh when things are bad. People laugh when things are happy. It's the same in Magick. So if you can learn to laugh at things that are not serious, because then you understand the joke of life. And then you understand that it's a game and you're creating it. And if you can laugh at things, like even if something horrible happens, if you can still laugh, then you can totally reset your vibe. And that's why it's really important. And also having non-attachment. Like, we are so attached to things and our thoughts and our beliefs, and we think we're right about everything, and we need this to wake up, we need this in order to be happy. If you somehow can learn to if you can actually get rid of everything, and I don't suggest you get rid of everything, but not to be so attached to things. That's why a lot of people have lost things in their life. They end up being very, very empowered by that, because they realize they don't need that. So they kind of needed, that's kind of why a lot of bad things will happen to people who lose things, to make them realize this. So that happens a lot. But yeah. And another crazy point is, he says, like, so laughter is the highest emotion, and it is the highest emotion, for it can contain any of the others from ecstasy to grief. It has no opposite, like he was saying. And crying is merely an underdeveloped form of it, which cleanses the eyes and summons assistance to infants. And laughter is only tenable attitude in a universe which is a joke played upon itself, like I said. So if you use these ones, that's actually going to work for you. They also suggest other things. So when you see, when you see initiations for certain things, and they're making the person do things outside their character, as in sex, doing, going to like sex parties, or probably like certain people, if you see in gang situations that they have to go and off somebody, there's a lot of different, there's an occult side to that, and it's about breaking down barriers, because if you break down the barriers, you'll realize how many barriers you actually have. And we are always we're always being brainwashed, and we're moving in a way, and we're not even thinking about what we're doing, most of us. It doesn't, even if you think that you're not brainwashed, you're like the easiest person to brainwash, because everyone is to a certain degree. So I know I can hear somebody right now saying, I'm not brainwashed. Yeah, you are, and you're easy to brainwash. So that's why doing certain things that are completely not you will break barriers of doing things. So I don't suggest doing these things. Like, these are extreme things. Like in here, he suggests throwing a brick through your TV and things like that. I don't think you have to go that extreme, but it's about seeing doing that. That kind of breaks the brainwashing and breaks down the coding, because you just did something that you would never thought you would ever do, and you did it willingly. And there's other things too. By going and exploring the opposites of things, complete opposites of, he says, being like, say for example, full of gluttony to starvation. I'm not suggesting doing any of these things, but these are just examples of the things we see, and certain people doing certain things, or certain celebrities doing certain things. This may help you understand what's going on. Like when it comes to wearing a dress, for example. I think that's where this comes from as well, because it's not only showing your submissiveness, but in an occult way, it is showing that you're going to be initiated, that you're breaking the molds of the previous brainwashing. So this is kind of, yeah. So these are the things that people go through in order to become a sorcerer of some kind. But you can actually go learn these things through experience already, because I feel like being a dancer, I learned these things when, you know, a lot of society is too, their biggest fear is to be naked in public, and that was my job every day. So when you kind of like overcome things that are like, that society wouldn't really view as good per se, and then you realize how much it isn't a big deal, you're kind of like, okay. So there's certain things that you probably went through in life. When you see the dark side of things, you see the light. So they want you to see the dark in order to see the light, and that's how usually the biggest occultists have come to realization of what light is, because you can't have the light without the dark, and that's why you end up not having hate towards anything anymore, because you realize everything is needed in the universe. So yeah, so if you want to prepare yourself to do magic, you need to you can do these, try these different things that will prepare your mind, and it will really help you, especially quieting your mind and stop thinking, stop worrying, and stop having fear. And yeah, that's it. And I'll link the book below. And I love y'all, and much love. Real motherfuck. Real.